Well, welcome to the Grim and Bloody podcast. I'm brought to you by Desperate Film Fest of Northern California. I'm Kevin Nicholson, writer for Scary Monsters Magazine, We Belong Dead Magazine, HorrorNews.net, Horror Nation, and yada, 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 yada. With me is, as usual, is our cast of suspects, Anthony Durand, the founder
Hello.
of Desperate Film Fest. Anthony, how are you doing?
I'm sweating, but I'm surviving. It's a hot day.
Hot day all around. Joe Flynn,
yes,
award-winning horror host for Create TV. Hi, Joe.
Hello, everyone.
And the man himself with the Munsters T-shirt on, Mr. Al Omega, the Creature Features show host. Al, are you ready for the Rob Zombie take on it?
I'm ready. I watched some of it. My pants flew off, so I am actually doing this pantless for once. So,
and that's pretty much per normal.
You are literally pantless today. Okay.
Yeah.
And
it's
our guests today, very special guests, the folks from Acrostar Films. We have actress and producer Myrna. And independent author SJ, aka Steve Hermann.
Hello.
Welcome.
And we're going to talk about, I guess we'll get into all of your output, which seems to be quite a bit of horror, fantasy, science fiction, and so forth. So it's all coverable. But the first things first is we're going to talk about, you're going back to the 1980s. Stock and slash and unstoppable demonic killers, the slasher genre with Trepidity. I wonder, my first question to both of you is, what is it? There seems to be a resurgence amongst not just independent filmmakers, but even from the major studios. That we're going back to the 1980s, we're going back to the 80s style and the slasher film. What's the appeal some 40 years later in your mind, Steve?
For me, it's just, that was the best time for horror movies, in my opinion, because that was almost the rise of slasher. The slasher films kind of went back to like the late 70s, but that's when you really saw the surgeons, Friday the 13th, Sleepaway Camp, movies like that. They're just the gory, stupid decisions by the characters. You can't beat stuff like that. And most importantly for me, no cell phones, so that way you can't go with the typical try. Why did just use the cell phone to call somebody?
Yeah,
I eliminated that right off the bat.
110%. Nowadays, you can't have a horror film in 2022 because they're just going to bring up their smartphone that has a battery for 4 days. Like, oh, hey, guys, I just geolocated us. We're 2.4 miles away from the freeway. If we head east, we're going to hit a gas station. And it just doesn't have that same level of tension. Let me check my phone. Okay, we want to go that way.
No, I'm sorry. You're going to get killed by the killer. I'm sorry. Wrong way.
So, Anne, let me ask you then. What is there something about the knife penetrating the flesh that still causes the height of horror for fans?
Yeah, I think so. It's not always a knife. There are all kinds of weapons. There are things that don't look like weapons that can become weapons, and that's always fun. So, yeah, I think people just like the adrenaline rush of horror films, and blood and gore does it.
Cool, because I wonder, is like 40 years later, we have films like Friday the 13th being redone. We even have, on the indie filmmaker front, we have, movies like, Mountaintop Motel Massacre or Sleepaway Camp, as Steve mentioned, are still being talked up. They're being paid homage to, in these films, and I keep wondering what the allure is of that genre some 40 years later.
There are a lot of like fan films. Trepidity is something very different because it's an original story that Steve Hermann wrote. So his emphasis is taking what he has written as short stories and making those into films.
Cool.
We've seen that, if you don't mind me getting in here, we've seen that obviously, if you get a good monster, you can have a lot of sequels to it. Do you think that has something to do with the interest in this from the production studios side of it? If you can't kill the bad guy, you can just always ramp up what the ending is, and he's going to come back. No matter how destroyed he is, everyone can be shocked when he comes back in the next movie.
Well, that's
you
true.
think
like Jason's been killed, I don't know how many times.
Every time.
Yeah. And to me, after a while, it kind of gets burnt out when they start hitting like 5, 6, 7. I mean, to me, the first and second
Jason
one,
10 in space was awesome.
Well, yeah, you can't beat the head in the nitroglycerin and then slamming it on the table. That was the top. That was the best kill.
Yes.
Next to the sleeping bag being slammed against the tree.
Which is only part way away from the girl whose nipples fell off. So,
that's true.
Yeah, that was fun.
And that's the best thing about it. You can get so creative with kills.
Yes.
Any way you want.
But you think that the studios like that because, like I said, you come up with something, you can keep bringing them back.
Yeah, you can. I mean, I lost count how many Friday the 13th there are. What are they at? 8? 7?
I think they're at 23 right now.
23?
No, I think
that's about right.
Yeah, it could be 46. The last time I counted, because I was like, no. Actually, I think it's like 12.
Right. I think Jason was in a wheelchair.
Yeah, he was the last time. Yeah, we rolled him out there and said, "Hey, Kevin, there's Jason. Go kick his butt, man."
I'm waiting for the chorus line ripoff of it when they do Jason as a musical.
There you go.
Flashy little guy, every little kill he makes. I can see it coming.
It could happen.
I did have a question, or SJ or Steve, excuse me, regarding your film company. Which in looking through your works, I found the initial premise interesting because as far as independent productions go, you don't usually see this type. And you guys specialize in adapting books to film. And looks like a lot of, Steve, your work is being promoted, although you guys open the door up to new works. But can you tell me the kind of challenges that would pose when you're taking a piece of literary work and you're transferring it into cinema on kind of like a limited budget? I know it's probably a lot easier for bigger studios, but if you can talk about what you guys had to adjust taking something from book to the silver screen.
Let's see. I mean, that's the biggest challenge is the budget. And I would say In the Dark, my first film I made, based off another short story that I wrote that takes place during a zombie apocalypse. That is taken from the mind of the main protagonist, and she's bouncing around in different locations, like the beach and a couple other places. Well, I couldn't afford that or have the time to do it. So I took the core concept and just stuck her in the bedroom, locked away while zombies are pounding at the door trying to get in, and then just have her go flashbacks as she is slowly turning into a zombie of how other people view her with this mental illness of phobia, depression, anxiety. And she just had these flashbacks in her mind.
That's a nice way around it. So kind of just identifying what's the absolute crux of the story making sure you get those on screen and kind of just reworking the sides. That is an excellent way. And although you guys are primarily doing your own work, have you come across any other novelists who may have reached out to you guys and said, you know what, maybe we can try our hand with this?
Yeah, I have. Yes, we have.
Oh,
we had a couple.
Well,
go
ahead.
I mean, they're waiting to send me books to read. I'm like, guys, send me like the elevator pitch instead of having to sit down and read
or what about
book.
like a short film idea?
Well, that's different. And instead of sending me like a 400-page book, just give me the elevator pitch.
Is that anything close to the Cliff Notes version? Of it?
Like Shakespeare, Kevin? You want the Cliff Notes, the Shakespeare? I'll tell you what. We'll do it. We'll make a big smash out of it. It'll be like Romeo and the Zombettes or something.
It's like saying, I have you have a 4-hour pitch, but I need you to give it to me in 90 seconds.
Yep.
Just as long as this elevator ride, goes up.
Yep. If you can't sell me within that 90 seconds, well then.
No, I'm a little curious. I'm kind of the old school, horror guy, and your influence. It seems like, at least looking at your information on your website and so forth, your influence as a writer and as a fan comes a lot from Stephen King.
Yep.
And I did check out some of your first book, Morium, and it's very Carrie-esque in a sense. I was wondering, how much of an impact Stephen King has on you. You do this book about someone being bullied relentlessly, and it's a very intense novel, very horrific. That Morium was described as Carrie on steroids.
Yeah.
What is King kind of meant to you, and has there been that influence, going forward with not just Morium but Acrostar and Trepidity and so forth?
I was hooked on Stephen King ever since the first book I read from him, The Stand.
Great book.
Since I read that, I was hooked.
Hear, hear.
And then I just went on to Cujo and then Christine and then Carrie. And funny enough, you say with Morium, I really didn't particularly care about the book, Carrie. I thought it was kind of like all over the place.
Yeah.
I think that was one adaptation that the film, the original one with Sissy Spacek, was a lot better than the book.
Mm-hmm.
Such a tremendous actress to be, at the center of the story. So, I agree.
Yeah, Morium kind of took a little bit from that because there was a lot of stories out there about bullying kids, getting superpowers and getting revenge and yada, yada, yada. I wanted to take it to a different level and ask the question, if you have superpowers, is it morally right to get revenge?
Great question.
That is a good question.
And that's why I have the two characters. One of them, Nathan, who does get revenge, and the other one is Lexi, who knows, okay, if I use this power, it's not going to turn out well. So I got two conflicts going, one good, one bad. And they're best friends, so that really adds to the conflict of it.
Now, we do have a trailer to show for Trepidity that is coming out this fall by Acrostar Films. Or Steve, did you want to go ahead and provide a quick intro of what our audiences can expect to see?
And I'll let you take this one.
All right. So Trepidity is a story that takes place in the 1980s, and a group of girls decide they're going to party in an abandoned bar, and they start to tell a story about an appearance of Satan, and decide to go ahead and try to conjure up that spirit, and bad things happen. There's a lot of blood that's shed. The film actually starts with a flashback 10 years prior when the original incident of the Satan conjuring occurred. So hopefully everyone will enjoy it.
All right, enjoy the trailer for Trepidity.
All right, ladies, here we are. Welcome to our personal party barn.
Do you realize how many horror movies start with a bunch of girls drinking in the middle of the woods?
Ladies, what is with the lack of enthusiasm?
Let's go check out the creepy murder barn. Find anything cool?
There's words written on the wall in blood.
Scary setting calls for a scary story.
Not gonna be too scary, is it?
Legend says the demon has until midnight to collect as many souls as it can before having to go back to hell. We offer our bodies as sacrifice. Come, thy loyal servant.
What was that?
Party's over. You bitches win.
On the contrary, the party's just beginning. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide, no one to trust.
Please. I don't want to die.
And we're back.
I have goosebumps just from the trailer.
Congratulations,
Oh my gosh.
Kevin.
I don't think
Oh my
I don't think everyone's gonna make it at the end.
I
That's
don't
just
think
my
so
guess.
either.
You'll have to watch it all and find out.
But yeah.
There is a lot to unpack in that trailer. And for all intents and purposes, it doesn't look low budget at all. In fact, I love the camera angles. That's one of the things because we also run a horror film festival, and we receive good amount of submissions, and we try to specialize in independent horror. And sometimes we'll get just kind of like the single frame shots or the couple tracking, but to really get the audience, both in my opinion, engaged and feeling unsettled, you need those really odd, aggressive angled shots. The shots on the floor, the shots from all the way up and down. You have to get the blood, and everything seemed to mix well in the trailer. And I see you guys had an Indiegogo campaign, and I'm pulling for you guys to reach your full goal, because this is a film that I think horror enthusiasts are going to enjoy. And we would also enjoy watching it ourselves. It would definitely have a place in the Death Parade Film Fest. So congratulations so far on what you guys achieved, and we can't wait to see the end product.
Well,
thank you.
I'm going to tell you that when I just saw the trailer, one of the things that I had high hope for in the film is strong female strong heroines,
please,
strong women characters. I grew up with the Sigourney Weavers.
Yes.
Come on, what about Lois Lane?
Lois Lane. What about?
Okay.
I don't want to age myself so badly that I turn off everybody.
Are we talking about Lois and Clark with Dean King?
Yeah, that's
God
it.
no, God no.
Yeah, he does.
The less said
Secretly.
about that, the better. But when you have Jamie Lee Curtis, and we've had Dee Wallace on our show.
Oh, she was magnificent.
Who's the least tough person possible, but kills everything.
Yeah.
Right. It seems like when they do these confrontations with the creature, whatever it is, it's like, come on, you son of a bitch. I'll take you. I'll send you back to wherever it is. Sigourney Weaver against the alien. Get your hands off of her, you bitch! And
I don't know about you guys, but I got some Cabin in the Wood vibes.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
They're trapped. There's demons in there. There's just blood everywhere. Yeah. Felt a little bit. I had a little Sam Raimi going on in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I could see that.
That's definitely good company.
So what's
leery about? Go ahead.
No. Go ahead, Al.
I was going to say I'm always leery about making statements like that, because if you're writing a horror story or a horror movie, you've probably seen a lot of them. And I would hate to go to someone who specifically said in their mind, this isn't going to be like I'm not borrowing from that movie. It's too popular. I don't want to borrow from that movie. And then someone comes up and says, "Oh, it's just like that movie." And so there's so much that you are drawing from to make your movie, your script, and the more less specific you make it, the easier it is to attribute it to the wrong thing. So I never know what to ask on a question like that. And of course, as a writer, I do try to write a little bit myself. I always want to wonder how big a sign do I need to point out? It's about this movie, not that one. So I think you're doing a great job with this one, however. But I can see where you can get the whole Cabin in the Woods feel from bits of it.
That's a good point now. That's why I love you on the show. God, yeah, it's that difference of opinion. I think that just makes it all the more better. Thank you.
No, thank you.
Al,
that's me. I'm the exact opposite from Al. As a fan of horror, I will always go into a movie and see if I can relate it to something that I watched previous that was great, because that makes me feel more comfortable watching this one. Like, oh, I see you were inspired by such and such. That means that you picked something that I enjoyed. So not everyone thinks like me, but that's just me kind of like naturally like, oh, hey, it might be like this. Maybe you drew inspiration from here. So that means I'm already maybe a fan a little bit. So I will be able to watch it a little easier. So you can take it different ways.
Al, I'm going to tell you that Anthony's already thinking. Find a button to mute Al's mic when I
no. Hell no.
Note to self. Find a button.
Disagree with me every time. Please continue.
No, but
I'm going to agree with you. I'll follow up and say that the toughest thing to do, whether you're in, I would think whether you're in filmmaking or whether you're just a film fan, is to avoid comparison.
Sure. Yeah.
You can't, really, or you have to go very, very out of your way to avoid comparisons, whether you're a film critic or whether you're a filmmaker. I would think that I agree with Al. That's the toughest thing to avoid.
It is. It really is. Yeah.
Yeah. No, and it's like as Al says, and Anthony, you can do films like as we were talking about Stephen King, for example. Hey, some of his films don't translate that great into films. Some of the actors, hey, they do the best they can with the script they've got. But, like with Carrie or even the TV version of The Stand, I loved the book. I also enjoyed the TV series. But, it's like you have to pick and choose. Like, oh, what am I going to cut out? Because the book is so gigantic, and it's like, never mind. But I do have a question. What films inspired you to become a filmmaker, Steve and Anna?
Good one.
To be a filmmaker, I would say...
You're not going to say Otto Preminger or something like that, are you?
I'm going to date myself here.
Jaws.
Okay.
Star Wars.
Awesome.
And Close Encounters.
There you go, Steven
Close
Spielberg.
Encounters.
Spielberg.
I think one of Spielberg's finest, to be honest.
Yeah.
I would agree with that. On a side note, yeah.
Never mind. I'm going back.
But now I have a question. Piggybacking off of. Oh, sorry, Kevin.
No, I was saying, Anne, can you finish up on that? What was your what has been? I guess from your perspective, we could say as an actress and a producer, what were your inspirations, or who were your inspirations growing up?
Well, my story is quite different than Steve's. I was in plays in high school. We did one a year. It was just like crazy drama department. And then I got a job in information technology and did that for 40 some years and basically gave up on anything creative. And as my friends started to have bucket lists of things they wanted to do when they got to a certain age, I didn't have anything on my list. And I thought, well, I want to be on TV. So I took some acting classes, did some background work. A lot of things are filmed in Chicago for TV, and then just networked with people and found this huge market of independent filmmakers who have absolutely fantastic content. And I ran across Acrostar Films on social media because I like to follow different filmmakers, and was really drawn to Steve's Morium project. Read the book, actually helped out a little bit with the production of that, and thought with all the organizational work that I've done in information technology, maybe besides being in front of the camera, I should try being behind the camera a little bit too. And so Steve talked to me about being a producer, and I found it really, really enjoyable to do that type of work as well. Kind of get the budget put together, the fundraising campaigns, make sure everything is all squared away on set. The good news is we were filming in the cold, and I got to keep my heavy winter coat on because I was behind the camera rather than the talent who was freezing with fake blood all over them.
Yes, it's always good to be the one with the coat on. I've been there.
There were no moments of quietly mocking the cast that's freezing out there, where that you're sitting there with the coat on, going, "Oh, I'm
no,
cozy."
That's not in my wheelhouse to do that.
So now let's talk about this other project that you have going on, that for all of us fans of a certain age, Joe, Al, myself,
yes.
not Anthony, not Anthony.
Anthony's the boomer baby.
I don't know when I'll ever become of age. Maybe when I hit
soon,
50.
Anthony, soon.
When we've got your homage to the 1950s, you have you're in pre-production, as they say, for a story called "It Came from Nowhere."
No, it came from
somewhere. It came from somewhere. Yeah, thank you.
Get it right, Kevin. Good.
I know, my faux pas. Dang. So it came from somewhere. And what was and I'll put this to both of you. What was the idea? How did that germinate?
Well, one night I was sitting there watching Mystery Science Theater 3000, and I watched a couple episodes, Teenagers from Outer Space, and Bride of the Monster. And I
with
think
that claw-like what penis creature or something that from Teenagers from Outer Space.
And I think it was Night of the Creature, Night of the Blood Beast, or the Creeping Terror. I can't remember. And I thought,
I love the Creeping Terror.
They are so bad. The
Creeping
really
Terror
cool.
was funded by Carpeteria, I think.
That's right. Carpeteria.
So go ahead, Steve. I'm sorry.
And I thought to myself, this would be really cool to do something like this. Put it in the 50s, film it in black and white, make it as bad as you possibly can, and just have fun with it. And just do homage to like Roger Corman, Ed Wood. People who, face it, Ed Wood was not a great director or filmmaker, but his passion really stood out. And I talked to the Trepidity crew, and they were all on it immediately, going, "Yeah, nice. We got to do it. That would be fun to do."
So you had that. You had the thoughts of Roger Corman, Jerry Warren, going through your head. Of group of teenagers on an isolated, island that are having a beach party, and there's things from underneath the sea that are coming up to want to dance with them. And then you have a geologist who just happens to be in the area, studying, something, or a biologist that's in the area studying something unrelated, who happens to have amazing knowledge about this creature, and goes around warning everybody, do not, Anyway, I could go on.
I was like thinking Kevin was telling us the bedtime story about horror at Party Beach.
Something like that. Something like that.
Something. Yeah.
Well, I wanted to talk about and finding out that you guys were filming it in black and white. I wanted to give the young guys' impression of black and white film and why I think shooting that way nowadays for a contemporary audience, I think, is an excellent idea. Naturally, when you can't see everything in front of you, there can be this inherent terror of like the fear of the unknown. I don't know what's in the shadows. I can't see that far, so my mind is going to fill in the blanks for me. In working with these esteemed gents around me, I've been watching more and more black and white films, interested in more, and there is a terror in there because even though it's just the way they shot the film, that's the technology that they had. It was an effective use of conveying whether or not it was their intention of emotion, of just visceral, fear, because you don't see everything around. And while you're watching this movie, you're kind of also gazing into the shadows of, I don't know what's there. So my imagination is starting to kick into overdrive here. And one of the earliest films for me was Terror at 20,000 Feet, William Shatner, especially when he was gazing out.
Twilight Zone. Yeah.
Twilight, Terror, yeah. So that was one of the first ones I watched, and it stuck with me since a kid. Just not seeing everything going on there, especially around the creature. So I'm very excited to see both, the challenge that you have in creating black and white, using, kind of like digital media, and how the outcome is going to look and how the audience reaction will be.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. We've got actors and actresses in the mid-20s that are going to be playing teenagers, pretty much par of the course back in the day. So that'd be a classic B cheese all the way around.
And don't get me wrong, I love the 50s fashion. So it'd be nice to see a film where people are in those poodle skirts and going like, hello, we're here at the beach. Never mind, it's a Sharknado.
I'm glad I'm not the only one that was concerned about the over-complex undergarments of the 50s.
Well, what gets me is the guys had more grease in their hair than they do in their car. Oh my goodness! It's like when they try to comb it, I'm thinking, why aren't they just like looking at their hands and going, ew? No, but I'm with you. I like the whole environment, the 1950s, in films where you had the so-called clean-cut teens and so forth. You had the Steve McQueen's, the Blob, or you had Steve McQueen, who had to have been the oldest teen, known, the oldest actor known to play a teen.
Come on, what about Frank Gorshan?
Yes.
Frank Gorshan.
Yes.
And I will tell you, there's another one from the movie Horror House, a British film in the late 60s, where Frankie Avalon, at the age of 30, plays a teen.
Yes.
Well, he can get away with it, though. Come on.
Yeah.
Frankie.
Yeah.
Come on, I'm still on my beach buddy.
Something in the suntan lotion him and Annette used.
So you guys come up with this idea to pay homage to the 1950s, and that's also something that seems to be kind of a thing that filmmakers are going back to, what we call the retro age. Is that something that you kind of spotted as you were going along thinking of this idea for this film, and you said to yourself, this could work, this could really tap into a certain audience, so to speak?
No, I didn't even think about that when I came up with the idea.
No.
It just hit me as I was watching those films. It just came to me just like that, and I said, I got to go with it.
Well, I just think it's wild that you came up with it from watching the films. But then you take, you see other filmmakers kind of doing some of the same thing of, going back to the earlier age. And I'm just wondering if there's something to that, something that the audiences like or dig, regarding that, and wondering if that was something that you guys are kind of keyed in on as well.
Well, we have a large Facebook group that is. Initially, it was focused on Trepidity, and we kind of switched it up to be Acrostar horror films, and we're getting a lot of good response to the little tidbits that we're planting about It Came From Somewhere. So I think it'll be a really popular film.
Are you going to use any kind of like stop motion animation, for it? That was the heyday of Ray Harryhausen and so forth. Like It Came From Beneath the Sea and things like that, or is this?
It'll just be a guy in a cheesy costume.
The Paul Blaisdell.
Yes.
Something.
Rubber suit.
Yeah, something that Paul Blaisdell would. Yeah, okay.
Loving it.
I can go with that either way, as far as that goes. But we would hope that you would, if you're considering film festivals for either of those features or any of your future work, we would hope that you consider Desperate Film Fest to be able to show it. We are Northern California's premier horror,
love to have you.
Film fest. Absolutely. Bringing out to Redding, California, and
Oh, I didn't wear my shirt. I said I was going to wear my shirt today. I did not.
Wait.
You wore it again.
I did.
You're killing me, Kevin. You're killing me.
Well, hey, at least Kevin's prepared.
Kevin, out shining. You go.
Trying.
You go.
There you go.
Yeah, we've got a list of festivals, so we'll make sure we include yours as well.
Well,
we would love to have you. We fetch you as for as much as McDonald's budget will we'll buy. But we'll get
Big Mac you've ever had.
The best Big Mac you ever had.
We promise not to strand you someplace out in the middle of nowhere.
It's not like the Hills Have Eyes area. We're pretty civilized.
Oh, I used to watch The Hills Have Eyes in the 80s. That film was awesome.
There's your next movie right there. Some horror producers get invited to a film fest that they've never heard of and get put up in a little hotel in the middle of nowhere where monsters are coming after them. What a great idea, because they're pissed off that these guys don't seem to have a really good handle on what monsters are really like. I like this idea.
Put them into a hotel, which they later discover the hotel is a portal to hell.
Yeah.
There we go.
Which is very closely connected to a Walmart next door.
And also a gigantic Ouija board.
You lost me there, Joe.
Anthony has a fear of a Ouija board, so
that's right.
I keep it fiction. That's what I do. I keep it fiction.
Steve, I think I have an idea for your next book: a portal to hell that involves a Walmart.
That's already real life.
That's it.
You go into the bathroom and never come back out. It'll be
That's
like
it.
Cabin in the Woods, but in a Walmart.
That's it.
Hey,
you can put Cabin in the Woods anywhere.
They have Walmart lets people camp overnight. So how about a group of Satanists that are going to Walmart after Walmart, making a pentacle while sacrificing people in the parking lot?
That's right.
Yes,
That's
I'm
right.
going to open a hellmouth up at the Walmart main office in the center of the pentacle.
And only a group of the most cynically burned out Walmart employees can save the day.
And one of them has to be a grumpy little old lady.
The store greeter. Yeah.
There we go.
That's me.
There we go.
So where can everyone find you guys?
On the Acrostar Films website, so ACROSTAR films.com. You can search on Facebook for Acrostar as well. And our Indiegogo campaign, if you search for Trepidity, Trepidity.
Excellent.
And you can also find us on YouTube at Acrostar Films.
Acrostar Films.
And I believe we can find your books, Steve, on Amazon.com.
Correct.
And I will tell people that if Morium is any indication, phenomenal writer.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate that.
It is certainly, it's one of the most intense and terrifying, especially for people who've ever been bullied, terrifying work. And I could see, reading that, I could see that you were kind of, I don't know, not knowing you, but I had the feeling that you were motivated by real life bullying events.
Yes.
That took place, and it's
some of the events in the book.
Yeah.
The bullying events did actually happen to me in high school.
Right.
I'm sorry to hear that, but I'm glad you're turning it into a positive and reaping some benefit out of it.
Thank you.
Informing people and scaring the shit out of them at the same time.
Yeah, there you go. That's how you get your message across.
Turn their pain and sorrow into money by doing art.
Well, let me go ahead and open the floor also to my esteemed co-hosts. Start with you, Al. What's cooking on the Creature Feature Show?
I'm just trying to get my stuff together here after getting over COVID and all the other stuff, getting ready now to go off to San Diego Comic-Con. So I will be down there, and I will be on the floor at least one day, probably Sunday, so somebody might see me.
Hey, you got tickets?
No, I didn't say that.
But you said the floor.
He's bribing someone to let him in the back way.
I'm hiding in the food truck, the little trolleys that they bring out for some of the stars or something. That's what I'll do. Yes. So yeah, I'm just getting ready for that.
Excellent. Kevin, what you got cooking?
Well, I was just recovering from my first venture in the last couple of years to a film con, Sinister Creatures Con, which was a lot of fun. I'm getting ready for. Let's see. We've got California Republic Comic Con
coming up
in Roseville, where I will greet and meet Nancy Ann Ritter, and also Kevin Sorbo will be there. I'm actually kind of halfway intrigued about that.
I hope he shows up for this.
There you go.
He does have a tendency
on Comic-Con 1 year.
Yeah.
I was mad, especially my mom. I went mostly for my mom. She was sad.
I grew up. Yeah, see, I grew up kind of. I'm not grew up, but I kind of got into watching him as Hercules. And,
I love
that was a fun show.
It was.
And then we have Creatures Con, which is coming up in August, and I'll be getting ready to interview Beverly Washburn there, and that's going to be fun. It's going to be after a showing of the movie Spider Baby. Talking about cult classic, films from the '60s. I know, Steve, you were talking about, and Ann, you were both talking about, the Roger Cormans and the Ed Woods and so forth. And Jack Hill was that way as far as the indie producer was concerned, and he was behind Spider Baby. Which has become a cult classic as far as a black comedy is concerned. So I'll be interested in talking with Beverly Washburn about that. Other than that, writing and more writing.
And writing. He keeps going. He's like the Energizer Bunny.
Joe, what you got going on?
Me? Not much. Actually, I'm gearing up for my... Let's see, in less than about a week. Yeah, my anniversary show's coming up in less than 2 weeks. July 4th will be my 21st anniversary of doing my local cable show, which means now I can officially drink. Yes, Anthony, you can buy me a beer.
Hey!
No. And also, I'm thinking of, hitting Son of Monster Palooza in October, so we're all going to be there. So hopefully we'll do a podcast from there, have a blast, and people, that's about it, you know.
Excellent. I guess I'll finish it up.
What do you got going, Anthony?
Film Fest. Oh, a lot. One of them is we were talking about your guys' Indiegogo campaign. We are also launching a Kickstarter for this year's festival, and we'll see how that goes. It's our first time actually reaching out to the community. We want to do bigger and better, but budget is always a concern. But I think through our different shows like the Grim and Blade podcast, the theater, we lined up some pretty gnarly pledge levels. That'll be releasing in 2 weeks. So there's going to be a little bit of a twist. It's not your normal rewards. Some rewards that you've seen before, and others you're going to be like, whoa, are they actually going to let me do that? So not even the co-hosts know it. Kevin, Joe, and I haven't even seen it yet. So I'm going to spring it on them.
So one of the rewards is that you get to see Al without pants, right?
Something like that.
I haven't made that one.
How did that?
I'm going to have to put a pretty big disclaimer.
Some butt prints. How about that?
There you go.
Hey.
Some red gory butt prints.
Win a date with Kevin. That's one of them.
There you go.
That's right.
I'm a cheap date. I am a cheap date.
You can take him to Del Taco. He'll
That's
enjoy
it.
Hey, I like tacos.
2 for 1 at Del Taco. I'm good.
Well, that's our show for today, everyone. I want to thank Steve and Ann for coming on, talking about their upcoming films. We are excited to see them. I hope you enjoyed the trailer. And Al, you want to go ahead and take us out?
Watch horror films. Keep America strong.
All right, and that's it for tonight, guys. Enjoy horror.
I just want to say, Ann and Steve, I want to say that thank you for not only for doing the show tonight, but thank you also for keeping alive things such as 1950s creature features, monster movies, and keeping alive even the 80s, slasher films.
My slasher post.
This is, you guys you help to recognize that there are actually older fans out there like us here, who appreciate something that's not, created, something that's not geared for the last year or two.
Yes. Well, thank you.
Thanks very much for for that, and more power to you. All the success in the world to you.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
All right.